Okay, let's get started. So, how are you doing? Good? Funny? Trevor? Caleb? And I have a name? Chandra, sorry. Okay, let's get started. So, have you ever tried to draw the ER diagram that I gave you last week? Did you? So, if so, how many entities we need to draw the ER diagram? The 5 entities we need, right? So let's draw the ER diagram based on this description. So the important the relationship is from there. Car was manufactured by exactly one manufacturer. Means we can guess car and the manufacturer, two entities, has a relationship, car and the manufacturer. Okay, and then we have to think about the cardinality, the maximum number of occurrence of entities, and then modality, the minimum number of occurrence. But in this case, maybe we'll make on here. In this case, where's Bueno? Okay, here. Manufacturer, exactly one manufacturer means it's what? One, okay? And then manufacturer manufactured at least one and many means the manufacturer car, the manufacturer has many cars. So simply we are able to draw the ER diagram like that. Okay, this is a car and this is a manufacturer. So this manufacturer has what? The many using profit, and vice versa. From the point of the car entity, how many cardinality? One. And then modality is also one. Why? Exactly one manufacturer we have here. Okay. And then manufacturer at least one. That's why the modality is one like this. Okay, this is one to many relationship. Okay, and then car has had many maintenance events. So we have the maintenance event, the entity. From this, we able to add maintenance entity here, and then show, okay, the many maintenance events. So car, from the point of the car, many maintenance events like that. Okay, but some a brand new car here may not have had any, which means can be optional. Which means it will be 0. This is optional. And vice versa, from the point of view maintenance events, if this maintenance event belongs to the only one car, something like that. Okay, And next, car may not have been rented to any customers or many customers, which means we can guess car and this is a customer as a relationship. What kind of relationship between car and customer? Car can be rented many customers, and also customer may have rent many car, which means many to many between car and customers, right? So many to many relationship between car and customer. But there is a one more additional information: rental date, return date, total costs are intersection data. So in order to add intersection data, what kind of entity we need? Associative entity is we need. So instead of connect directly, we add the rental entity and then the customer entity like this. So car and customer, many to many, many to too many. Okay. And think about the minimum, the modality. Car may not have been rented to any customer. The case of brand new car. So the optional can be 0. Okay. And next one is customer may have rented many car from Rocky. Business environment must be rented. So must have rented at least one. So the customer rents at least once. Okay, so this is a 1, this is 0, and this is exactly 1. Okay, so this is a ER diagram of this, the description. So so finally, we are able to get this kind of ER diagram. But there is no, the foreign key just shows the relations, the entity here, manufacturer, car, and event, rental, the customer. And also we are able to add some description. Manufactured or is manufactured by manufacturer. Repaired or is repaired by that event. And then rent or is rented, like this. So it's a very simple example, but when you have those kind of the description, you can draw those kind of ER diagram. This is a beginning of the database design. This is a first step. First step is conceptual design. Second step is what? Logical design. Third one is what? Physical design. Okay. So this is the diagram. Any questions? No? Okay. a more detailed the parents relationship. So what is the difference between the strong entity and the weak entity? Do you remember? Strong and weak. Strong entity can be exist without any help of other entity. Independent entity can be exist its own. But weak entity is what? It cannot be exist. So weak entity needs some of the help of other entity. Okay. So that one is a relationship, strong entity, independent entity, one-to-one, one-to-many, and then many-to-many. Okay. You already know that, this one. And take a look at this example. So you are given to implement database system. So you get the customer ask, our company or our organizations has a data entry form like that, especially club membership data entry form. So when you to enter data, those kind of the window is pop up, and we are able to add member number, name, phone number, email address, locker number, and then the locker room. Okay, so you typed to enter data. After that, the data you entered will be stored in this format. So this is a locker report. Okay, let's see. So member number here, name, locker number, locker room, locker size. So from these, the reports, you should able to derive what kind of relationships, one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many. Which one? It's a one member and just one locker. So one-to-one binary relationship. So from this, so if you those kind of the data are given, you have to derive ER diagram like that. So in order to store data, what kind of the entity we need? The first one is entity about member. And the second one is entity about locker. So member entity and the locker entity, they should be one-to-one, matched one-to-one. So this is a cardinality. But modality is what? It's optional. Why? Why optional? It depends on the business environment. But try to think why those are optional, 0 and 0. Some cases, some of the club member, I don't need the locker. In that case, it will be 0. Okay. And from the point of the locker, some lockers are empty, not available. I say yeah, it's available, so nobody assigned to that locker. In that case, is 0. So can get the modality like that. Another example, maybe too small. Let's see. Okay. So in this example, so data entry form, member number, member name, phone, email, and then uniform. But in a uniform, there are a couple of data. So uniform ID, sports, type, size, and number, and so on and so on. Then this one is data report. So member and then uniform, the data belongs to that member. So in this case, what kind of the relationship? One to many. Okay. So one, two, and then many. Okay. So this can derive this diagram. The member and then uniform. The member can have multiple uniform. That's why the many. Or vice versa is one. One uniform is just belongs to one member, if not shared. Okay. Then the optional means maybe in this case, the baseball and the basketball, just the two sports. The Jones joined two sports, but maybe another one, volleyball is another optional option, but the Jones doesn't have the valuable data. In that case, can have a zero. Or the valuable uniform is not belong to no one. In that case, it will be zero, optional. So one too many. And how about this one? Company name, city, and then country volume parts. In parts, cedar shake, garage heater, utility cabinet, and so on and so on. But that data entry form is similar with the previous one, this one. But difference is, reports, you can see here, for example, forest supplies provide what kind of parts? Cedar shake. And also one more, provide garage heater and utility cabinet. That means one company for a supplier provide many parts, right? And vice versa. Garage heater, this part is provided by how many company? One, two, three, four. One, two, three, and four. Provided by four different companies. So part and company, what kind of relationship? Many to many, right? So we are able to draw this many to many relationship. In the previous, the statement description, or if we have those kind of data form and they report data like this, you have to derive those kind of relationship. This is one-to-one, one-to-many, the many-to-many. If needed, you have to add associate to the entity for intersection the data. Okay. Then the next, the relationship, ID dependent. What is ID dependent? Remember, ID dependent. ID dependent is one of the weak entities, but especially the identify or identifiers of weak entity should be included into the ID dependent entity. Let me show the example. So there are three different kind of the pattern: multi-value, archetype, or instance, and association the pattern. So association pattern is I already explained, like between car and customer, man-to-many relationship, the rental, date, cost, what kind of car, and so on. In order to store those kind of intersection data, we need these associative entity. The same. This is a many-to-many part, and then companies. But if you add the price, but take a look at these numbers. So see the shake by Bristol System, 14. ERS System, 12.5. Forest Supplies, 15.5. The prices are different, depends on the company. So in order to store those kind of distinct the price, we have to add associative entity. So like that. There's a part here, and then company, and then this is a quotation. But the entity name, you can name it whatever you want. But here, the primary key, part number is used, and the company name is used in their associative entity. So this entity is called ID dependent entity. The ID, parts number, and company names are included in the quotation entity. Okay, this is the first pattern. This is a ternary relationship. It's the same. Client, architect, and project. Client name, architect name, and the project names are included in the associative entity. Okay. And multi-valued attributes. In a relational database, table or relation looks like that. Maybe this. And this is a columns with a name, ID, and address. Address. It's a phone number. It's a phone number, something like that. So in a relational database, one, so restriction is only one data, the atomic data, the single data can be stored. We cannot add multiple data into the single cell. Okay, but you want to design this kind of the database, company name, city, country, volume, and how many phone number we have to store. In this example, 3. This one, and this one. So into the relational database, we cannot add 100, 3, 4, 4, and 100, 4, 4, 4, 800, 1, 2, 3. We cannot store those multiple data into a single cell. Okay. So in order to implement those kind of the data form, we derive this relational diagram. So company, from this form, we need the company entity, and then we need the phone entity. So company and then phone. Okay. And then the company can have the multiple phone number. So it is many. So one-to-many relationship. But Y is solid line, not dashed line. So what is the difference between dashed line and then solid line between entities? The dashed line represents the strong relationship between strong entity, and solid line represents weak entity. Okay, so this is solid line here. It means that phone entity is related to the company, especially in an ID part. There's a company name. Company name is ID of a company. Is used in this weak entity. That's why we use solid line. Okay. In the previous example here, the company name and the part, company name is not used in the part entity. So company and part are strong entity, distinct entity. But in this case, the company name is used in the phone entity. That's why it is a weak entity relationship. Okay. And how about this? I'd like to add one more data set, the contact. Contact is the person. For example, salesperson, Alfred, Jackson, Rinda, Sui, and so on and so on. So in this case, how can you draw ER diagram? We need company entity, we need phone entity, we need contact entity. Okay, so we can draw like this. Company name, phone, company name is used to phone entity and also use the contact entity. Okay, the phone number here, and then contact, maybe the salesperson number. So we are able to draw ER diagram like that. But a little bit updated. I'd like to match phone number and then salesperson. So this number is Alfred's phone number. This number is Jackson. It is Rinda. This is Sui, something like that. In this case, how can you draw the ER diagram? You have to modify it a little bit. It will be like that. Create another entity phone contact. Then the ID of company used here, which means this entity is ID dependent entity of company. Then contact name, Alfred, Rinda, Sui, and then phone numbers is attribute. So these kind of the data form can be designed by modeled by this ER diagram. Make sense? Make sense? No? Yes, maybe not. So tell me, what's the confusing part? So if you have any questions, just let me know. So association pattern, and then multi-valued attribute, and then the last one is archetype and instance pattern. So it occurs when the ID dependent entity is a physical instance of an abstract or logical patterns. For example, class and section case. The discard schedule. Number, section number. So when you search course, so course name is database principal, right? Then course number is CSCI 3245, right? But what is the difference between this one and this one? Section number is 1. The other one is section number is 2. Okay. So not here. Okay. So there are multiple sections of the one class. So it will be designed like that. Class and then section. CSCI 3245. We have a multiple section. Think about that. Section can be exist without class. This one, class entity. The section entity can be existed without class or vice versa. Without class entity, the section class is meaningless. We have just section number 01 and 02. What does that mean? We don't know. This is ITAG 2260s for section. This is CSCI 1302s per section. We don't know. If you have the class CSCI 3245, this is a class entity, and then we have a multiple section. So without the class, the entity, this section entity can be existed. Okay. So not this one. Okay, this one. And here, so class name is used in the section here. That means section entity is ID dependent entity. And then section number 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and so on. And then other attributes you can add this. So this is a solid line means so relationship between the weak entity. Okay. And then the yacht is same and the house model is same. Without the model house, we cannot create house. Okay. So this is our instance pattern. Instance pattern is a similar concept, the class and instance in program language, especially object-oriented program language. But you can change it, the instance pattern, using non-ID dependent relationship. Sometimes it will be hard to remember 32, 45, 01, 02, 03. So instead of using course number and section number, you can use what? CRN. In this case, A5619, A4620. We can identify using this CRN number. So we change it, class name and section number, by reference number, the CRN number. In this case, this class name is not used in the section entity. That means the section entity is not anymore, is not the ID dependent entity, but still weak entity. Why? Without class entity, the section entity cannot be existed. So the class entity must be exist for the section, the entity. Make sense? No? Yes? A little bit? A little bit? So Macon campus is okay? Can you hear me? Okay, good. Thank you. Then a little bit complicated the pattern, line pattern, and then mix the relationship pattern. So there are a lot of the different distinct patterns, but they are used when you design. Okay. One is that this one. Those kind of data forms given, you have to design the EL diagram based on this data form. So in order to implement, in order to build the EL diagram, how many entities we need? Can you tell me how many, what kind of entity we need? So first of all, it is related to sales something. So maybe salesperson entity maybe needed, okay? And then this is a salesperson's attributes. And also, oh, this is a line item. So in a line item, there are the data about items, desk chair, conference table, side chair, and desk, and so on and so on. And so can get item, and also line item, maybe 3. And also another one is customer. Okay, this is a customer entity. So at least we need 4 entity we need to implement this data form. And then we have to find the relationship between 4. Okay. Oh, this is not 4. This is 5. Can add when you design. We need some additional data to store. We have to add additional entity. So customer, this is a customer. Okay, we draw the customer. And then salesperson, or this is salesperson. So customer and salesperson not related each other, which means they are strong entity, can be exist to its own. And then the total is the sales order. This is a sales order, which means the salesperson and sold those kind of items to Kelly. Okay, so we can add the sales order. And sales order numbers, where is it? Sales order number to identify what kind of a sale. What, oh, so who is the salesperson, who is the customer, and then items. Okay, like this. And then items are here. Desk chair, conference table, side chair, and so on and so on. So it can be existed its own. Item, salesperson, customer are not related to each other, which means strong entity. And what is that? The last one, order line item. So from this diagram, sales order is a whole sales order. This is a whole data. And in this sales order, there's a line items, first line, second, third, and fourth, and so on and so on. Okay. So order line item has an ID sales order number. It is from where? Sales order. To identify this line item is from this sales order. So this is ID dependent entity. And then line number, first, second, third, fourth, and so on and so on. And then add quantity, unit price, quantity, unit price, extended price. Okay. So we are able to draw this kind of ER diagram. So based on this ER diagram, we are able to create the table and then database by the SQL, the language. So important thing is, this is a question, and then this is the answer. So if you don't understand, or if you have a long answer, your the database, the design will be totally different. Okay? So this is one example. How about this one? Mixed relationship. Recipe and the ingredient use. But here is solid line, but this one is dashed line. Why? This is solid line and this is a dashed line. So in order to identify the relationship, you have to understand the business logic, business environment carefully. Think about that. Ingredients, I'd like to, so the recipe, for example, to make cookie. So to make a cookie, I'm not sure, but egg is necessary, right? Am I right? So I'd like to make cookie and ingredient, maybe egg. So recipe and then egg, two different entity, strong entity. But ingredient use is what kind of the recipe are you make and how many ingredients we need. For example, without recipe name, this is egg. I need 5 eggs. For what? Not sure. Bread, tea, or anything else? We don't know. So we have to add recipe name, which means I'd like to make the cookie here, cookie there. And I need 5 eggs. So this is a weak entity to the recipe, but ingredient used entity is not related to the ingredient. Just need 5 eggs, whatever cookie or the bread, whatever. So this is a mixed relationship. Maybe I know it's a little bit complicated to understand. The same example. So employee and skill and employee skill. So if employee is not exist, the employee skill has no meaning, meaningless. Okay. Hello, can do sky diving. Skydiving, your skill, just for example. But Tail left. But so Caleb's skydiving skill, there's no meaning in this organization. So this is a solid line relationship between weak entity. But skill, skydiving can be exist its own. Okay, this is a strong entity relationship. Maybe and this is a data entry form. You have to design the ER diagram. So regions fishing license, you have to include those kind of the data. So how can we design ER diagram? So first of all, what kind of entity we need? You can guess. Maybe license. Maybe this is a fishing license data entry form. And there are attributes. And what is that? It's for use by commercial fishers, for use by sport fishers. This is what? Subtype. In this case, there are 2 subtypes, exclusive subtype and inclusive subtype. For example, student can be divided into undergraduate or the graduate. If you are undergraduate, you cannot be a graduate. You are undergraduate, you cannot be undergraduate. In this case, it is exclusive. The same, commercial fishers or sports fishers cannot be both. So we need exclusive subtype. And here there are attributes, and then there are attributes. So for this data form, we are able to draw ER diagram like that. Fishing license, license number, this one can be ID, primary key. And then what is that? Subtype, especially exclusive subtype. It can be commercial or sports. Okay. So this is an entity. The license number is from fishing license. Then also license number is from fishing license. Is that those 2 entities are ID dependent entities. Make sense? And the other one is a vessel. So the vessel can be included there, but for other purpose, can draw, can make the distinct vessel entity. Then connect the relationship. Okay. So this is the ER diagram of this data form. The recursive. Okay. So if so, until now we are the running how to design the diagram, ER diagram. So how can you draw the ER diagram by hand or Excel spreadsheet or yeah. So in order to draw actually there are many kind of different software. Okay, so I'd like to introduce one of them. And you go to the type draw.io in your browser. Okay, so let me notes. Yeah, good. Okay, then enter this kind of the window, the pop-up window, you can see. And this is where are you save your the file. And this is a create new or open existing one. So select create a new diagram. Okay, and then there are many the category there's a EL relational diagram. This one, the left one. Select EL diagram, entity relationship diagram. And then create. So this is example, just to delete. Okay, right? And then collapse. Can you see the entity relation, the bottom, the left pane? Select, expand. Okay, there are many icons. So among them, try to this one, table one, drag and drop like that. Okay. Or like this. Okay. Then add some entity name. What? Which one is good? Maybe manufacturer car serial number. Okay. This is a car, PK car serial number. And then country, sales, lab name, lab number is country. Yeah. Sales person name and sales person number. For example, we can add like this. Increase. Okay. Then the other one is a manufacturer. Manufacturer. I'm sorry. This is a manufacturer. That is, oops. Oh, serial. Sorry. It's mixed. Manufacturer name. This is a manufacturer name. This is a manufacturer. This is a car serial number, model year class. Model year class. We can modify it. After that, we have to connect to entity. So from this example, it's a one-to-many relationship between manufacturer and then car, right? So you can select one, maybe this one. It's many-to-many. One-to-many. Where is it? Okay, this one. Okay. Then drag the end of the symbol and then connect. Sometimes you can feel that this symbol, cardinality and modality, is too small. In that case, select this one. And in the right side, there are some options. So increase size, maybe 10, like this. So using those kind of tools, you are able to draw the ER diagram. You don't have to draw with a pencil and paper or the PowerPoint or the Excel spreadsheet and so on and so on. You can use this kind too. There are a lot of the different tools, Draw.io, Lucid charts, and many things. But this is a free, so you can use it whatever you want. And then sometimes one more couple of things. Maybe if you repositions like that, okay? But it'll be good like that, but I like to draw this relationship between the bottom and the top like that, like this. So in that case, select that connection. After that, select this option and straight, okay, and move. Move. You can modify easily. You can do that. If you add the more attributes, it's like this one. This is arrow. And then type the attribute name. If you want to delete, one more click like that, then right click and then delete. Delete. Yes. Easy, right? So maybe assignment 2 is to draw ER diagram. I'm not sure. Let me double check. Assignment 2. The draw ER diagram. Okay, describe following business environment, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so do you know how to do that? And then understand this description and then drive what kind of entity we need. And then restart the entities and then find the relationship between entity and entity. After that, you can use this, the tool to draw the whole ER diagram. Make sense? And also, if you want to save, maybe it is saved by the draw IO, the file, this one. But sometimes if you want to export your drawing into the file type, in this case, select file, then select export as maybe PNG, JPEG, PDF, and SVG, whatever. For example, PDF. Then can export your work into the PDF file or the JPEG or PNG, the image file. Okay. See if so. Okay, we have just 10 more minutes. So I will give her the time to draw. So try to draw the diagram using that IO dot draw.io, the tool. So make on campus. So you can draw this diagram using draw.io tool. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So take a practice to get used to this kind of tool. Okay. So one-to-one and the unary and one-to-many and many-to-many unary relationship, but I already explained. So I'd like to skip that part. The concept is not difficult to understand, but try this one. Then, if available, you can add some description between the entities next to the relationship. So manufactured and is manufactured by, and then rented and is rented by, and so on and so on. Repaired or is repaired by to represent relationship to entities. If you have any question, just let me know. Or any difficulty, let me know. Or if you have any concept you don't understand, let me know. maybe it'll be good if you use the mouse. Then what is that? Touchpad. Sometimes it's too difficult to control subtly. As you can see, the, the building EL diagram is like the foundation of the building or house. Foundation is something wrong. Later, it's hard to change. It takes a lot of resource and the time, or you have to totally change the database and reprogramming and so on and so on. So just to fully understand the business environmental logic and then write down detail and then the build the correct ER diagram. After that, and using the SQL, it's a kind of piece of cake. If you know some syntax, you can make easily the database and the relations and so on and so on. But sometimes we need a normalization to remove the redundancy. This is another task. Okay. Yeah, vertical. So in this case, select this option and then select straight. Mm. Yeah. So one tricky part is to draw the vertical straight line. So let's see. So in order to draw the vertical line, maybe you can select anything like that and then connect. Yeah, you can use the line tool like this. But looks like what is called, it's not zigzag, but it's not a straight. In this case, select that connection and there's an option below the line, this one. Then select straight and easily change. Okay. Then you can increase the symbol size by size option like that. Or you can change solid line and dashed line like that. You can select what is called the line tool. So later, when you add the foreign key after loading the foreign key, you can add the foreign key by typing like that. Okay. Right now, we don't add the foreign key, only just the primary key and then attributes. Now, to add more attributes, select entity, and then you can select left or right arrow, click, to added a new one. So maybe it's a copy and that. If we want to delete, select this last one and one more click. So rectangle, the selected a little bit extended. After that, right click and then delete. Make sense? No? And if you have a time at home, you can just try, have some practice. Okay? And that's all today. Any questions? Nothing? Okay, and then thank you and have a great evening. And then see you next week. Okay? Thank you, guys. Gregory, thank you for attending today. So let's call it a day. Do you have any questions? Can you hear me? It's busy. Thank you. See you next week. Recording.